Good morning. This is the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's morning docket. Today is Thursday, April 13th. If you have a cell phone, will you please silence that cell phone or put it on vibrate? When your case is called, could you please step up to the microphones, state your name into the microphone, and if you're going to be providing testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. Calling the first item on the docket for the regular items, the new transfer expansion hardship hearings. Calling Terrence Dixon, New Terra Cafe LLC, trading as New Terra Cafe, 101 East 25th Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. It's an application for a new Class B beer, wine, liquor license under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1603C2.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of Mr. Dixon, who is here with me to my right.
Good morning. Mr. Dixon, will you raise your right hand, please, sir?
Yes, sir.
Will you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Previs, Commissioner Moore wanted to say something.
I just wanted to put on the record, I've known Mr. Dixon for a number of years. I've never represented him in any capacity, but I do go to the restaurant a lot. It's, I guess anyone who watches knows that my family and I eat out all the time because I don't like to cook. But anyway, I've been there a lot. I know Mr. Dixon. I've followed the work of an organization called SKIP, which is Independent Restaurant Owners. And I just wanted to put that on the record. I don't feel that I need to recuse myself from hearing this case, but if you feel that there's anything that exists between our friendship, relationship, or lack thereof that would cause you to not want me to hear your case, I won't.
No, I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Mr.
No objection.
So, Mr. Previs, this, they already had a Class B license, but they wanted a new one that allowed them live entertainment, outdoor table service.
No, sir. This is an application for a new Class B license. There is no license there now.
Oh, there is no license there now.
The restaurant's been in existence for approximately 9 years without a liquor license.
Okay.
And Mr. Dixon would like to obtain a new Class B license.
And I see from the record that the zoning board has approved it subject to a number of restrictions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There was an older zoning appeal, and I got that from zoning and to put in the record with regard to the outdoor tables and the live entertainment.
Okay. Do you want to just briefly tell us what the live entertainment outdoor table service is contemplated?
Sure. I'll do that by way of questioning Mr. Dixon.
That's fine.
Mr. Dixon, you've been sworn, and you are the sole owner and operator of the Terra Cafe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've been there for approximately 9 years?
9 years, 4 months, 13 days, and about 6 hours.
Okay. Now, you
And
serve...
I've owned the building for almost 18 years.
Great. Okay, yes, he said. And you have a full restaurant menu at this time, is that correct?
Full restaurant menu.
Okay, and you brought copies of your carryout menus with you
for
here
everybody
today
right
for the
now at
board?
this point.
Hugh doesn't need one.
I don't need one. I can tell you what I always order.
Fish is amazing.
My husband gets the fish. I don't get the fish.
I was going to say,
Thank you.
for Lent this year, the fish came in handy. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Okay. All right, your current hours of operation are, take us through the week.
My current hours are Monday through Thursday from 8 to 9. If we have an event, something of that nature, maybe a poetry or an open mic, we might have a meeting. We've had fundraisers. We'll extend the hours a little bit more. But then on Fridays, we're open. Friday and Saturday, we're open from 8 till 11. Once again, if we have poetry or something of that nature, a little bit more. And then on Sunday, we're open from 10 to 7,
Okay.
which is awesome.
And if you obtain a liquor license, you were planning on extending your hours a little bit to,
Yeah, the hours would extend in the week a little bit more, but more so on the weekend and on Sunday.
and what are you proposing for Monday through Thursday, Sunday through Thursday? 8 through,
Sunday. All right, what would probably happen is that maybe open up about an hour or so earlier in the morning, maybe a few hours later in the evening on Sunday. All right, Monday, I think that most of the week we'll tail down, but then on that swing on Thursday, okay, we'll probably be open till about 11, maybe 12, okay? And then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I mean, Friday, Saturday, until at least 2.
Okay,
All right.
and you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Breakfast,
Full
lunch, and dinner menu. And there's going to be a new, when all of this goes well today, it's going to be a new menu. You're going to have wine and tapas, okay, stepping into the next age or the next growth of Terra Cafe.
Okay, and you're on the corner of
25th Street and St. Paul.
Okay, and the existing smaller area is on the corner on 25th and St. Paul, and you have an additional area that you go up a few steps?
Yeah.
that right?
We have a awesome dining room that we prepared. And the vision is for it to really be more so like supper club. You can come, get a great meal, a great glass of wine, maybe hear some live entertainment. Something that really is famous with Baltimore, all the way back to the Chitlin Circuit.
Historically, this building was what?
Historically, this building years ago, it was called the Red Door, back during the Chitlin Circuit. At that point in time, it was labeled kind of like the training ground for those that did want to go to Pennsylvania Avenue and hear great jazz. Only problem was at that era, blacks could come and cook, and they could sing, but they couldn't come in and sit down and have a meal and enjoy the music. So it's kind of ironic that now, years later, and I did another restaurant years ago, and it was the Red Door, and we picked it up. But years later, now we're there. So you have great food, and we're not excluding anybody. We're inviting everybody.
Right.
All right, with the entertainment and the food. It's just that season.
Okay, and later, this was what place?
What place? You said later?
Historically later, after you were this premises was the Earl of Sandwich, is that right?
Yeah, I missed that era, but it was the
something-
Earl of the Sandwich, and everybody talks about the great food that they served at that point in time, too.
Okay.
And that was a keystone of the community for many years, if I'm not mistaken, also.
And you have approximately 15 employees now,
Yeah.
and you're hoping to add to that?
Doing the planning, everything, this is going to be 10 more jobs. And the way that we've been approaching is that a lot of our employees are folks that might not have a chance for employment, coming home from being incarcerated, maybe our youth that need a little direction or mentoring. So, we didn't plan for it to be like that way, but it's just kind of like it organically happened. All right,
Okay.
that we took care of our
And
community.
you already have some live entertainment, and describe what you have and how you might add to that.
We have, we do poetry, open mics. It originally started when we started doing it for the youth in the schools. Then we found the need for an artist refuge where you've had great artists, but it was so crazy with the venues of people getting them in. And matter of fact, we have Michelle Bowman. She's here. We've done a couple of awesome jazz. She is a classically trained songstress. That's right. And so we plan jazz events. Matter of fact, on Easter, we have an awesome jazz gospel brunch. We're going to have 2 seatings, all right? 3-piece band, awesome.
Okay. And you have outdoor tables already?
We have outdoor tables already.
And they're where, on the 25th Street side?
They're on the 25th Street side, and also I think we have revisions where we could have some on St. Paul, but that's just not it. We look at just to lace the front of 25th Street side itself. The sidewalks are, large enough and everything else, and we've been putting tables out for a couple of years now.
Okay, and you understand if you're granted outdoor table service and liquor, that the people have to be seated for eating, and it's not
Definitely.
an additional area where people can mingle outside?
No.
And you will police that?
Of course.
And you live in the neighborhood,
I live upstairs.
and you're part of this neighborhood, right?
Been there 18 years.
Okay, and so you're gonna run your operation the way you have, as a tight operation?
You know what, we've gotten a couple of articles in reference to us being able, for the last 18 years, we've mentored over maybe 30 to 40 small businesses, because I own the storefronts on the side. So when it comes to a business ethic, we've kind of like helped people set that standard, all right, and that's what we're known for.
Okay, and yet with regard to the capital investment, you retain the services of another neighbor, Mr. Melnick.
Yeah, awesome guy, yeah.
And now you didn't buy this place, and you haven't just built it out. You've been there for several years. Is
I've
that
been there
right?
for 18 years.
Okay,
I
so-
started with just one tenant, and
So-
now we have 14 units.
So you and I obtained Mr. Melnick to value the value of what you've done, excluding the purchase of the building and any
Yeah,
exterior
this is just,
improvements.
just the fixtures and the restaurant space itself.
We have his appraisal.
And that
It will
yes,
be received.
It'll be received, and that indicates evaluation of $432,880, and the threshold in this application would be $200,000. Okay. You also brought some things that you would like the board to see? Okay,
I can run through them, that way I don't mess it up.
okay.
All right, and I can pass it up to you.
Just briefly describe.
Briefly describe, we've been voted the #1 black restaurant in Baltimore City, which is awesome, okay? If I pass them up to you, you can
You
share
want
with.
these entered in the
You
record?
want them entered as exhibits?
Yeah, we're gonna enter
Means
that
we'll
as
keep 'em.
exhibit
Yeah.
A. Okay. Exhibit A,
You'll be received.
okay,
I've been watching a lot of TV.
all right.
You don't need Mr. Previs.
Step aside.
Now, this was the second thing. This was a discussion that we had in reference to, kind of like off of Robert, Florida, which is that art and culture really is the key to empowering a community. You know, that you actually build the art and culture first, and then the economics will come later on. But part of that is that putting that money in to build it first, there has to be somewhere that you raise for, and that's what we're at right now. That was a great article there. This was a great article, too. This was a real good one. This was, we actually ran a book campaign. There's a school over by Medallion. It was cut into one school made into two. One thing that they left out was a library. At that point, we looked at it as just setting our kids up to go to prison. We decided to actually do a book campaign. I put it out. We raised, I think, about 1,500, 1,800 books. But one of the incidents was that I actually went and climbed in the dumpster to get books for the schools that were closing, and they wouldn't allow me to have the books. Teachers called me and said, please come get. And I couldn't get them off the premise, but they said, you can get them out the trash can. And they thought that I wouldn't do it. So I jumped in the trash can and got it, and that was pretty heavy. And we got some books and got to them. This was the first article, which was pretty awesome for me. This is Black Enterprise Magazine. I've been reading that magazine since I've been about 12 or 13. I knew at that point I was going to have my own business. I was going to retire out the country on the beach. So to have them come and interview me as a black green eatery, and I didn't know I was being green. I just thought I was being thrifty at that point.
Hold on, we'll get to those in a second. And then you have
I have some
article, city paper article?
city paper article. Which one is this? This was a video.
Don't worry about that.
Okay, we ain't gonna do that one.
Now, you also had a paper petition that you generated in your
we generated a
restaurant?
petition, a paper petition.
And you
We
also
have
have
about
an
1,000 in here.
And you have an
okay.
online petition?
And then we have an online petition
And how many
that has
signatures you
another
get there?
495 signatures here also.
Okay. And you'd ask that these be
This is-
introduced as a group exhibit?
That's fine. So are a lot of these folks present today?
We got quite a few of them present here today that have signed.
Okay,
All right.
okay. The board would like to recognize, thank everybody for their attendance and support.
Okay, and you have some letters of
I got a
support?
lot of great letters. I have, we'll start, Mr. Renwell Bass at the Downtown Culture Arts Center. Him and his staff, they definitely think highly of us. This is Mr. Kurt Anderson. He's awesome. He's all the time. He likes Table 9. Okay. This is Mr. Corey McRae. And he shared with me yesterday that, you know what, he really doesn't eat out of his district, but we're the only ones he comes and hang out with. All right. All right. Nanadu Tech, which is an analyzing and consulting firm that actually looks at businesses and see how they can make them better. They shared the letter with us. Okay. I have Mr. Robert Meth from Old Goucher, one of my neighbors. Oh, awesome. And this is Mr. Robert Orr. He is the vice president of Old Goucher Community Association and my neighbor. We live right across. He's an architect. He's really awesome. I fell in love with the buildings in Baltimore. That's what brought me here. And I think that's it. And then I have, I think you've gotten one from Old Goucher, also from Mr. Kelly Cross. Yeah, I got that. Thank you. That's Ms. Dory Scorm. That's my executive manager.
Okay, and now you met with Mr. Kelly Cross?
Yeah, I met with the Old Goucher board. I shared with them the vision that we have in reference to the new menu, more of the supper club, and just the growth. You know, after 9 years, it's just the next progression of growth for us, and they celebrate with us.
Okay,
The
you
support.
also met with Ms. Sandy Sparks and the liquor unit for CVCA?
Yeah, the Old Goucher Benefit District, we met with
Okay.
them too also.
Okay, and Ms. Sparks, I believe, is out of town, but she sent an MOU,
Yeah,
and you.
Can I
you-
speak?
Yeah, I'm gonna preface it with,
Okay.
you haven't entered into an MOU?
no, I did
Okay,
not.
Okay. But you agree that if the board thinks that anything is necessary to make sure that you remain a good neighbor, that you would agree to any conditions that the board would have, is that correct?
Yes, the liquor
Okay.
board would have, yes, I definitely would.
Okay. I think that's it. Any questions for Mr.?
The only question I have
Dixon,
is,
and then I'll call somebody else.
when you declined to enter the MOU, was it because of some particular issue, or was it just
I didn't hear you.
the MOU with the community organization? You didn't enter into it for one specific issue or a number of issues?
I think that they've really, that MOU was really just not for the new Baltimore, all right? That MOU is for the old Baltimore, all right? And I've been on that board for about 10 or 12 years, all right? We started the Old Goucher Business Alliance, and we haven't always seen eye to eye. I think that our community has been left out of a lot of situations. And it's very apparent because when you come from 33rd Street around John Hopkins and down, they're able to stay open a lot later, okay, without as many restrictions. And then you come from 28th Street down to 21st Street or North Avenue, and then, you know, it opens up again. But that 28th to 21st Street, we've been kind of stifled. I have other friends that have restaurants in the area, and that when you have a restaurant that 1 block away that you have to close at 11, and others that are able to stay open to 2, it kind of like eliminates your ability to compete with great food and just the growth of your business.
But you get along with everybody.
I get along with everybody.
And-
I
and you
I have
spoke
no
with-
choice. We're here together.
You just had a philosophical issue with that MOU, is that what you're telling me?
Well, I think that they've hurt a lot of businesses with that MOU and the restrictions that they have put on some of the businesses in the area. You know, you've had some great businesses. You have Sweet 27, all right, that they've been around for quite a while. You have St. Mary's, they've been around for quite a while. So you have some proven businesses in the area that have done great things, but they can't compete with some of the other areas. You have the new R House there now. You have Parts and Labor, okay? So we just want to be tangible with everyone else in the city, you know? Don't want to be left behind.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. The commissioners have questions?
Can I defer to Commissioner Greenfield,
What-
please?
Absolutely. I assume you're well aware of the rules surrounding liquor laws, because this is obviously
Yeah.
a new element to your business. So you're familiar with the fact that employee records need to be kept on the premises, you need to buy from certain wholesalers, and last but certainly not least is obviously underage drinking and ensuring that you appropriately card everyone.
All of that. Most of my customer base is a mature, educated customer base, and that's what I built my business on.
Well, and I appreciate that, but in fairness,
Yes,
I know it might be hard to believe, it shouldn't be, but Commissioner Moore is only 25. So when she comes in,
My granddaughter believes that 100%.
So,
And don't tell her otherwise.
so my only point is,
Yeah, definitely
Mr.
all
Dixon, I love your passion, I love your energy, I love the investment you've made in this community. I love the fact that you mentioned Richard, Florida, because I think you're spot on, and I think you're spot on with what you're doing in your neighborhood, and so I appreciate that tremendously. I'd love to not see you later in the violation docket. I'd rather come to your restaurant, which I'm looking forward to doing.
Please do.
And applaud you for all the work, and applaud everyone here for being here and supporting you. You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
So my my questions are a little different. You got the approval from zoning, and there were a lot of restrictions that were placed on the zoning permission to have live entertainment. And I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of those restrictions. They gave you the approval some years ago, but you've refreshed your knowledge of what those restrictions are and that you will abide by them.
Yeah, definitely 100%. When I signed that first MOU with the Benefit District, I just didn't know any better. You know?
Well, I'm not asking about the benefits district,
oh,
and
oh,
that could
that.
be a whole separate discussion. And you're on
Oh, I
a,
thought
you're
that's
on
what-
a
I thought
good,
that's what
nope,
you was
you're on a
asking
good
for.
positive roll, so let's keep going
Okay,
forward.
yes,
Okay?
I'm sorry. I
Yes?
thought that's what you were asking.
No,
I didn't
I'm talking
understand.
about the zoning,
yeah.
the zoning
Definitely,
board itself.
yes.
One of the concerns that I did see that I think could still be a concern if it happens is there were outside speakers at some point. There were outside speakers, and I
And
just
it-
want to know whether or not that's still the case, and is that an issue that's resolved?
You know what, there was outside speakers, and we started this when we first started the outside seating. And after having the health department come down, after having zoning come down and actually meter with whatever the noise meter they use,
Yeah.
they concluded that we were so low that for it not to come back up again. So, I mean, we complied with everything that they
Okay.
did.
All right, so you're good there.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, those are all the questions I have, and I just have to reiterate on the underage drinking. It's a very, very, very important
It's a
issue.
serious
It's
offense.
one not just for this board, but for the whole city. And I know that the mayor is very concerned about it, and others have had a policy of carding anyone under a certain age, and I would suggest 40, and you will offend no one by carding
I like
any.
getting carded.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point, and that's the
You're
point.
my age.
Okay, those are all my
Uh,
questions.
So I think we're ready to roll. Mr. Dixon, I want to congratulate you. I think it's great what's happening in the arts and entertainment section of Baltimore, and you're contributing a lot to that environment. So congratulations, and keep up the good work. You know, our job is to make sure that all these things are done in accordance with the rules and regulations that are in place, and so we want to, you know, have these hearings and reinforce that. But otherwise, I'd vote to approve the license on the basis of all the evidence that's before us this morning.
Okay, Commissioner Greenfield?
I completely concur. Wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to coming by and
Look forward
and
to seeing you.
experiencing it, and you know, thank the community for being here as well.
Thank you so much.
And I agree.
Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Got a lot of exhibits.
Yeah.
Yep.
My goodness. I don't think I've ever seen this many people for,
A transfer, a new license.
yeah, I've never. That's Joshua Harris, who eats there all the time.
So what do you eat there?
Chicken. Salad. And he has some really good soups.
You ever had their burger?
No, I've never had the burger. But,
Omelets?
no, we've never been there for brunch, but we'll have to going forward. Good morning. Good morning.
Let the commission know Dana Moore is 25.
Yeah. Not
Yes.
double that.
Let's call the exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, carry out menu. Applicant Exhibit 2, appraisal. Applicant Exhibit 3, three newsletters. Applicant Exhibit 4, 7 packets of petition of support. Applicant Exhibit 5, 6 letters of support. Thank you.
Did you also include the appraisal?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Okay.
Calling the next case, Richard Fortune Jr. and Joyce Park, JMT Liquors Incorporated, trading as Wabash Liquors, 3741 Wabash Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership.
Still morning. Good morning. JU representing Ms. Joyce Park and Mr. Richard Fortune and the corporation JMT Liquors Incorporated.
Good morning and welcome. Can I ask you folks to raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Okay, and are you Mr. Fortune, sir?
Yes, sir.
And are you Ms. Park? Yes. Okay, when you speak, step up to this because we need to be recorded, okay? Mr. Yu, this is an application to transfer ownership of an existing liquor store? Is
Yes,
that
yes,
correct? On Wabash Avenue?
Yes.
Where is it in relation to the district court?
I don't think it's too far. Actually, I haven't been to the store itself, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure it's not too far.
Okay, so what do you want to tell us?
Basically, Ms. Park will be the 70% shareholder, and Mr. Fortune will be 1% pecuniary interest holder, and Mr. Joshua Butt will be the 29% shareholder. Ms. Park will be the president, and Mr. Fortune will be the assistant secretary. And Mr. Joshua Butt is the shareholder and actually the fiance. The reason why we included him as a 30% shareholder is because he is also applicant for the SBA loan, and he is also guarantor on the loan, so he's actually on the he's a shareholder as well. Mr. Fortune will be the resident agent licensee, and as the application indicates, he is well qualified. He has been a resident in Baltimore City for 25 years. He's registered voter. He is a property owner and a taxpayer, and he has no convictions whatsoever, to my understanding. And he works for the Maryland Transportation Authority. Ms. Park and Mr. Fortune have known each other for the past 10 years, and Mr. Fortune graciously agreed to be a resident agent licensee for Ms. Park. Ms. Park has experience in working at a liquor store, and she does have a substantial experience in operating small business, including working as a manager at a car wash and also running a retail market business. She has obtained the alcohol awareness training, which I'll submit as Exhibit 1.
Received?
And also, there has been a petition signed by the patrons of the business, which have agreed to the transfer of the license.
That will be received as well?
And also, the current owner, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, actively participate with the community, and they have been supporting the community in the form of a donation for the scholarship. And they're very they're involved with the Ashburton Area Association. So Mr. Lee and Mrs. Lee will introduce Ms. Park to the community, and she will continue that tradition of supporting the community and contributing to the scholarship program that they have. Ms. Park has no criminal record. She has no serious traffic record, and she's a person of good moral character, and she will continue the business as it is run. There is not going to be any changes made to the premises. I believe Mr. Fortune and Mrs. Park both qualify as a liquor licensee.
And who's going to actually run the liquor store?
I will be.
And 24/7 or?
No, I have my sister. She'll help me.
Okay. And Mr. Yu said you had experience with liquor establishments before. Where was that?
Yes. Wow. I've been in Baltimore City. My parents owned stores off of North Avenue. We had one in D.C. I think like 2 in Baltimore City.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you have actually worked in them?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So you're familiar with the routine. You heard
Yes.
Commissioner Greenfield reciting earlier about purchasing from the proper wholesalers
Yes.
and maintaining the records on premises and managing your employees and
Yes.
making
Proper identification with carding.
all
Yes.
those things.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just you and your sister who will be running the store? Will anyone else be working?
My fiance will come on his days off and help as well.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
What is the name of the businesses that your parents owned?
It's been a long time. In DC, it was Weltman's Liquor. In Baltimore, Bermuda Bar. That was the one off of North Avenue.
Bermuda Bar?
I don't know if it's there anymore.
Oh, how long ago was this?
Oh, wow. It was 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was a while. It was
Okay.
time ago.
Okay. And you did work at the Bermuda Bar. What did you actually do there?
Just cashier.
Oh, okay. So you had an opportunity to card
Oh, yes,
people?
yes.
Okay, so, and you know the importance of
Oh,
that?
yes,
and-
absolutely.
Okay. During the time that your parents owned Bermuda Bar and you worked there, are you aware of any violations
No.
of the liquor laws? Okay. And where do you live?
Germantown, Maryland?
Germantown? So the plan is that you would come in from Germantown?
For probably a year, and then I'm gonna try to move closer to the location.
Yeah, because Germantown, is that still Montgomery County, or is that, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, at least it's the reverse commute.
It is, it definitely
which can
is.
be-
I'll probably do that for like a year, and then move, like I said, probably move
Uh,
closer.
Okay, so, and during that first year, is it, your plan was that your sister would also help sometimes? And where does she live?
Same,
Same?
yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is that it's very important that, that we have licensees that are aware of the business and what's happening and what's not happening, the impact in the community, or the lack of impact, and just be very aware and not absent.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
In terms of running the business. So can you just talk a little bit about how you will make sure that that happens?
As far as
Being aware of the practices, what's actually happening on a day-to-day basis. And I know you say that you're going to be there, but you're also going to have your sister coming in,
Well,
but you're the
yeah,
licensee, so.
I just feel like we'll get to, as far as the community, we'll get to know the people that come into the store. We'll get to know there's a lot of homes around there, so we'll get to know a lot of the
Exactly.
people, and that's important to us. Before this store, we had my fiance was actually owned a mini market, and this is where I met Mr. Richard. But the important thing for us, it's always been, at least for me, is getting to know the people in the community. I would like to have like a relationship with the individuals. It's important to
Okay,
us.
okay, thank you.
So there will be 2 employees, do I understand that correctly? You-
Three.
Who is the third?
My fiance,
And where does your fiance live?
same, he lives with me.
Okay, so, sort of underscoring Commissioner Moore's point, one of the concerns I have is the fact that you live,
Yes,
3 of you live
yes,
some distance
yes, it
away.
is.
And so, again, back to what Commissioner Moore said, it's absolutely critical that you have, you're there and present every single
Oh,
day.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and Ms. Park, you have a 70% interest in this, so you're on the hook.
I know,
So,
I know.
you understand,
I do.
obviously, having grown up in this business, how
do,
absolutely
yes,
critical it is that you're there, and you're probably
do.
about an hour away from, you live about an hour and away. So can you just speak to what kind of schedule you, your sister, and your fiance are anticipating in making sure that this Class A license will be, that the owners will be there and present? And
Well, yeah, I'll be there to open, and my sister will come in later and then help me close. As far as my fiance, his days off, he'll come in and help me open to close, so.
Okay, all right.
What are the hours that are planned?
10:30 to 9, Monday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturday, 10:30 to 10, and close Sundays.
And what does your fiance do?
He works at a restaurant in DC. He
Okay,
has 2 days off a week. He's off Fridays and Saturdays, so.
okay.
So you're going to make him work on his days off.
Of course, he's a part of the shareholder. He supports whatever I do, so.
Is there anything further? Okay, on the basis of the evidence contained in the application, that which has been received this morning as part of the hearing, and your testimony, Ms. Park, and proffers from counsel, I'd vote to approve the application.
Well, I vote to approve it. I do have concerns about the proximity and the lack thereof from the location. I guess I should have asked Mr. Fortune, how close does he live to the location, and is he going to be able to step in if there are issues?
I'm pretty sure if I
Yes,
ask
it
him.
would, yes, and I'm about 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe away from it. And I'll be coming in periodically checking to make sure everything is run like it's supposed to be. Carding people, making sure, peeping over the records, making sure they're keeping the correct records and all.
Okay. Well, you meet the legal requirements to, at least the minimum legal requirements to have the license, because you have the Baltimore City resident. I do have concerns. I've expressed them, but I will support the application.
And I will concur as well. Thank you. Best of luck.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Yu.
Thank you.
Oops. I don't know if you got this for today.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification. Applicant Exhibit 2, petition of support. Applicant Exhibit 3, Wabash Liquors Educational Scholarship Award flyer. Thank you.
Call the next case, Suraj Bhatt, Street Foods LLC, trading as Sweet 27, 127 West 27th Street. It is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. It's an application to transfer ownership.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of Suraj Bhatt, the applicant.
Good morning. And gentlemen, can I ask you to raise your right hands, please?
Swear or affirm that, raise your right hands, please.
That's me.
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and are you Mr. Bott?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman behind you is?
I'm Ryan Flanagan, president of the Greater Remington Improvement Association.
Good morning. And you, sir?
And I'm Reginald Parker, member of the
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, he's just to take all this down.
Sir, what's your last name, sir?
Parker,
Parker?
board member of Charleston.
Roger or Reginald?
Parker.
Reginald?
Do I give you?
I've got it. Thank you. Okay.
I believe I can do this one by way of a proper.
Okay.
Thank you. This is an application for transfer of ownership and not location of the liquor license, the Class B liquor license at 123 West 27th Street. It's currently, the trade name will remain the same. It's Sweet 27. The prior LLC was Gluten Free LLC, and it's been in operation since 2009. After several appeals and a 55-page reported decision, YIM LLC versus Liquor Board, the license went into place in this establishment. The current owner, Richard D'Souza, is moving, and Mr. Bott has been working there since 2009, and he is purchasing the business from Mr. D'Souza and has created a new LLC in order to do so. Mr. Bott has substantial experience in the restaurant business as well as handling alcoholic beverages. He understands his obligations with regard to serving to minors and the hours of operation. And he will continue to be the operator at the premises. He'll be hands-on. In the initial financial form, it indicated that the purchase price was $70,000. That has increased to $90,000 as a result of buying, in addition to the restaurant, the cupcake aspect of this business. They started out as a gluten-free cupcake business in the east side of the building, and then morphed into the restaurant part, which both are open and operating now. So the current purchase price is $90,000. Mr. Bott has paid $30,000. He would owe $30,000 90 days from approval of this, and an additional $30,000 180 days after that.
Yeah, I would just like to correct Mr. Peter. So Mr. D'Souza is on vacation for now, so I did not write him a check. We had a mutual conversation on the phone, and when he comes back on May 2nd, I'll be writing him a check of $30,000.
Okay, and but
Sorry for that.
no, but the issue with the board is you have personal savings in order.
Yes,
to
I have a
pay
personal
that.
savings as well as taking some personal loans from friends, family, and if needed, I'll go with the bank also.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe that's it. He has support from Mr. Flanagan.
You need more copies?
No.
This is from the Greater Remington Improvement Association and from Sandra Sparks of Charles Village Civic Association.
Mr. Parker, you have one.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
I'm sorry, before, you have an existing MOU with CVCA, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and that was modified one time prior to this hearing,
Yes,
but there is an MOU in effect?
yes, yes, am I in effect?
With which organization?
I believe-
Charles Village?
Charles,
Oh, okay.
I said CVCA.
Okay.
Forget something.
And he's agreed to continue
Yes.
the terms of the MOU?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So it just occurred to me, way back when I was either the president of the Charles Village Civic Association or still on the board and working on the alcohol committee or liquor committee, I was involved in an earlier transfer of the liquor license
It was
failed. And
it was the same transfer. It went on and on and on with
Oh.
appeals.
Okay. And that was really contentious. And I don't remember how it even concluded, but I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
That I did have that involvement. And I don't think it's a conflict to hear this today, but I feel a certain kind of way. So I'm going to recuse myself and not participate in the further discussion or the vote, just because I was so involved years ago. I just think it's best that I not be involved today.
And to clarify the record, I was brought in towards the tail end of the initial hearing process, so I negotiated with Ms. Guida, and they ultimately resolved their differences and entered into an MOU.
So you
But I
brought some
didn't-
calm.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was me. I don't take any credit for that, but I didn't deal directly with you because it was Ms. Guida that was the front person at that point.
You didn't. It's just that my history with this location, and I eat there. I love it. It's a great place. I just feel like as an attorney and as a commissioner, I shouldn't vote. Okay.
Mr. Greenfield, do you have questions?
I do not.
Okay. On the basis of the evidence contained in the application, the approvals from the Community Association in support of the transfer, proffers from council, and the testimony we've heard this morning, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur, and Mr. Bott, congratulations on the support from the communities.
Thank you.
I think it's great work.
Good luck, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Flanagan. You have done an amazing job. Your community's done an amazing job around Remington. I just want to put that out there. You and Mr. Weeks and your team have done a great job. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So much.
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support dated April 10th, 2017, Charles Village Civic Association. Applicant Exhibit 1, letter of support dated April 13th, 2017, Greater Remington Improvement Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, Michael Marler and Andrea Nojakowski. Say it again? Apologize. Marsky Bar LLC, trading as Marsky Bar, 3301 Foster Avenue. This is a Class BD7 Beer Wine liquor license, application to transfer ownership.
Good afternoon, or good morning still.
11 more minutes.
Exactly, and good morning for your last normal Thursday for a while. So.
Thank you. Can we ask them to raise their right hands, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
And are you Mr. Marier, sir?
Marler, yes.
Marler. I couldn't tell whether it was an I or an L. And will you pronounce your last name, please, ma'am? Novoyevsky. Close? Okay. I have the same problem with my name, believe me. Although I think Italian names are a little easier. Council, where are we here?
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogel on behalf of the applicants, Mike Marler and Andrea Novoviesky. What can I say? This bar, this liquor license, this establishment has a history personally for me. It's across the street from my house. When I first moved to Baltimore City over 15 years ago, I fell in love with the bar. It was a place called Shorty's. It was ahead of its time at the time. It had great DJs, great beers, great music. That went on for a little less than a decade, and then there were some money problems, and it became a bar or an Ethiopian restaurant called Sheba. And again, maybe that was a bit ahead of its time. An Ethiopian restaurant in Canton, it didn't succeed. And quite frankly, from what I understand, the licensee at that time then rented the bar out. and it became a problem in Canton. And it became a problem for me personally as I, for the first time in my life, ended up recording video across the street at 2 a.m. and sending it to the inspections division. Anyway, that bar didn't work out so well. They had a 60-day suspension by the liquor board based on some problems they had with Canton Community Association. So it was with excitement and a little bit of nervousness when I got a call from these clients who wanted to come in and open this bar across the street from my house. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about what you're going to need to do here. And I couldn't be more lucky, quite frankly, because what I have in Mike Marlar is a man who has spent over a decade bartending at one of the nicest places in Canton for good food and good times called Kissling's Tavern right on Fleet Street. And in Ms. Novovieski, I have a client who has experience managing Winchester's Comedy Club and Water Street. And what makes it even better is that Ms. Novovieski lives in Canton. She grew up in Fells Point. Mr. Marlar lives in Patterson Park, and he's about to move above the bar. So as far as locals who can take care of problems in a jiffy, they're a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Kissling's Tavern, if you all have ever been in there, is known for their seafood. It's known for their wings. They have, I think, in fact, they own the URL baltimoresbestwings.com. Mr. Marlar and Mr. Novovieski, Ms. Novovieski are going to serve local products, seafood,
Clam belly rolls?
shrimp. No. That sounds like a New England thing to me. Look, I got a New England wife, and I don't know if that's really Maryland. But anyhow, so no, they're going to have steamed shrimp, crab cakes, crab dip. In fact, they want to try to popularize or repopularize coddies. So they're going to have coddies on their menu. And that's something you don't see much of anymore, maybe for good reason. Commissioner Moore, I see you shaking your head. So. Yeah, in any event, local beers, local products. It's a small place. It has a capacity of about 80. And I've got a couple of photos of, and I'm sorry.
How long has it been closed?
It's been closed. I'm speaking as their lawyer now. It's been closed for a while off and on. I know Mr. Gadinsky got them a hardship extension request, the prior licensees, but it's been closed for a while, so certainly more than 6 months. But again, there's a hardship extension request granted. I'm hoping that you received the the letter of support from the Canton Community Association. It literally came in at like 10:16 a.m. to Mr. Page. Yeah, I mean, I have it on my phone. What I can tell you, and this is something that's amazing here. These clients hired me literally like a year ago today to start on this project, but because there was a problem with the tenants, the licensee had to be evicted, we met with the Canton Community Association Economic Development Committee, who gave us their approval on May 9th of last year. So I recently recontacted Dan Tracy of the Economic Development Committee, and he said, yeah, I remember we approved him. I might need some more help remembering some details. So I sent him over some information, and he sent a letter in this morning. So, all I can tell you is the meeting was done. It's approved. Canton Community Association, given, and they mentioned this in the letter, given the history they had with that last licensee, they're very excited to have a new licensee in that location. So I won't belabor any of this. If you want to hear from Mr. Marlar and Ms. Novovieski, Mr. Marlar is indeed currently alcohol management certified as a result of his employment with Kissling's, and that's good through January 23, 2018. So this will go on the wall, 3301 Foster, when they're ready to place the license with their name on the wall. Any questions?
Yeah, commissioners?
No questions.
Real questions.
Okay. So on the basis of the materials contained in the application, I'm taking your proffer, Mr. Fogelman, their support from the Canton Community Association. On the basis of your proffers to us about the backgrounds of these applicants and their intentions with respect to this license, I would vote to approve it.
Thank you.
And I would concur.
Thank you.
I would concur as well, and I think one thing we've learned this morning is that perhaps gluten and Ethiopian food in Baltimore might be ahead of its time.
Yep.
But wish you the best of luck. It's close to where I live, and look forward to stopping by in a well-lit, open establishment.
Kid-friendly.
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 Very important.
Okay, good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Good luck.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, 2, photos. Thank you.
Calling next case, Ann Rowley, Patrick's of Pratt Street Incorporated. Trading is Patrick's, 131 South Schroeder Street. It's a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a request for a hardship extension on the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article, Section 122202.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing licensee.
Morning, Mr. Kadensky. Can I ask these folks to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Kadensky, any chance that we have a conflict between my law firm and Patrick's?
I don't think so, no.
No? Okay.
They've been there since 1847, so
Name
that
showed up.
beats me and you.
I don't understand this computer program anyway, but these names show up and I have to ask. Okay, so are you Ms. Rowley?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you, sir, are? Okay, okay. Want to tell us about the hardship?
This was an establishment that's been there 1840 on that location. I don't know if any of you've ever been there because you used to have the stoplight there, red lights, green light when they were open, green light when they were open, red light, no. The other one would be caution. They, after many years of business, thought that they had it sold. They went to auction on September 15, 2016. They strung it out. The person defaulted on the purchase. Took a while for them to get their money back. And in the meantime, the bank has given them the problem. So they asked for the hardship extension. They have a couple of people interested now. The building is set up as a restaurant. It really doesn't have any value without the license that's there. So they would ask that the board grant them the hardship extension, see if they can sell the asset. I've been in touch with the bank, and they're willing to go along with it too. It's right on the corner of Pratt and Schroeder. It's been there for a long time.
Do the commissioners have questions?
Am I correct that the location closed February 15?
No, that's wrong. I don't know where they got that. It was September 15th, 2016. In the letter.
Yeah, I see the difference.
That was the day of the auction. They thought they had it sold, and
So it's been closed since September 15?
correct.
And you thought you had a buyer, the buyer defaulted?
And they
So-
on March 1st, they filed for the hardship extension.
Okay, okay. I think that was my only question.
No questions.
All right, on the basis of the proper from council and the letter that's in the record, I would vote to approve the extension.
I vote to approve.
I concur.
Thank you.
Good luck, hope you can sell it. No,
I'm sorry, no exhibits for the record.
okay, I think that concludes our morning docket, and we'll resume around 1.
Have a good lunch.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday. Good Easter.
Is it gluten-free?
Yeah.
Ethiopian.
Root and toot gluten.
So we've got
I
one,
love Ethiopian food.
2, 3
Well, yeah,
cases in
you
the
know, if you give
afternoon.
it the,
Citizens Commissioners for Baltimore City's afternoon violation docket. Today is Thursday, April 13th, 2017. If you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, please put it on vibrate or silence it. When your case is called, please step up to the podium and state your name into the microphone. If you're going to be providing testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. And Mr. Chair, if I may call this case out of order, we're going to call the third case.
That's fine.
Calling Nicholas Hopsis, Emmanuel Karalas, and Dimitri Vengalokis, TDF Corporation, trading as Loafers 2, 1401 Bloomfield Avenue, is a Class B beer, wine, liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, on March 11th, 2017, and violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, on March 18th, 2017.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing licensees. There'd be admissions to both.
Okay, before we begin, do we have a conflict with TDF Corporation, do you think, in Wyford Taylor?
No, that's, I know the TDF you're talking about, but I don't think it's anywhere close to that.
Okay. Can I ask your clients to raise their hand? And Detective, just in case we need some testimony, okay?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. So you want to give us an explanation of what happened?
It's not a real long explanation, but this is as of some interest to people that know the area. Originally, this restaurant was part of the hotel that was there on Bloomfield Avenue
Where's
years
Bloomfield
ago.
Avenue?
And, you know, near St. Agnes, off in there. And when the hotel was there, the restaurant was part of the hotel, and they had entertainment. Then they offed the restaurant, and it's separate now. They had applied, and I'll give you a copy, for live entertainment. We had a zoning hearing scheduled for December the 13th, and what had happened is when we sent the site plan in, the planning and zoning wanted a better site plan. They just didn't want a site plan of the restaurant. They wanted a site plan of the outside with the parking and all that, which they had been, and they were in the process of doing that. In the meantime, they had these issues where people would come, they would stand up and dance. Told them they can't do it. Not until we have the zoning hearing. The site plan, they tell me, is going to be ready Monday or Tuesday. I talked to Mr. Tanner at zoning. I think we can get on the second Tuesday in May for the hearing for the live entertainment and dancing.
Okay. And so you're not saying that they thought they had it already, it's just that it was in the works during the
It
time?
was in the works, and then they said a lot of times people got up, and you've heard this a lot with some of the other places where they hear music and they decide, no, put more tables, don't let them dance, don't do it.
But why after they were cited once?
Because, I always thought that, you heard me say it last week, once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah.
Well, now it's twice bitten, not shy anymore.
Okay. And Detective, were they cooperative?
Yes, very cool.
But they did it again anyway, right?
Well, that was right, that was, one matter was mine, and then patrol officers got it.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
Are you still having the dancing at this location? How did you stop it? How have you stopped
Well,
it?
step up, you gotta give your name when you're talking.
My name's Manuel Corrales. We just eliminated the DJ and play music through the speakers, pretty much.
Okay, so the officers came in on March 11, you got a citation, told there was no permit for live entertainment, and then they came back on March 18. Was the DJ there on March 18?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Thank you.
all righty, thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay. And just for the record, the history of violations we have from 2 years ago, a sale to a minor. How long have they had the license?
They were there, I think they were there since 10,
Okay, so
licensing.
in 6 or 7 years, they've had these 2 times they've been before the board.
Yeah. And this one, they shouldn't have did it. It was pending. That doesn't tell you can do it while it's pending. They're
I
not doing it
understand.
now.
Okay. All right, on the basis of the evidence contained in the violation notices, the brief testimony we've had today and the admissions, I would find a violation of Rule 4.14A on March 11th and a violation of Rule 4.14A on March 18th of this year. And as to each, I would fine the licensee $250 for a total of $500 plus the administrative fee and give them 30 days.
I agree.
I concur.
Okay, thank you very much, and hopefully you won't see that back here for dancing unless it's legal.
And Mr. Kudinski, one last thing. You may want to check their SDAT status. I think
Yeah,
we haven't.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Okay.
Yes. I'd like to call the exhibits for the record this time. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department
this in?
Report, Officer Hafner. Exhibit 3, Zoning Permit Detail Printout. Exhibit 4, Zoning Permit Detail Printout. Applicants Exhibit 1, Baltimore Zoning Appeals Posting.
Start with applicants, Exhibit 5.
go now, on the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, zoning appeals, posting printout. Thank you.
Calling the next case, Leonard Popa and Joan Popa, Club 438 Incorporated, trading as Sooners Tavern, 1600 Hazel Street. It's a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare.
Brian Everett on behalf of the licensees who are present.
Mr. Everett, before we begin, has Leonard Popa ever, to your knowledge, been represented by Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston?
Have you ever been represented by Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston, the law firm?
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay, the
Not to
name
my knowledge.
showed up on my computer check, so that's why. Can I ask everyone to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I'm Leonard Pope.
And you're Joan Popa?
No.
I'm Jennifer Knowles, that was the one.
She's our witness.
Okay. And
Joan Pope is not present.
She's recorded.
Got the wrong case. I have the wrong case in front of me. This is
and
supposed to
this is going to be contested?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Who's going to testify for the board? Yes, sir. Just identify yourself and
Detective L.C. Greenhill, OID Vice, Club Enforcement.
you may proceed.
On 11th March of this year, 2017, at 12:01 a.m., Detectives Greenhill and Gatto, both of OID Vice, responded to 1600 Hazel Street, in which is known as Sooners Tavern, following the citywide broadcast of Signal 13. Signal 13 is a police code meaning that an officer needs immediate assistance and is broadcasted throughout the 9 police districts of the city. Detectives Greenhill and Gatto were working in the Central District at the time of the broadcast, which time I switched my police radio over to the Southern District channel to listen to the broadcast. Detective Greenhill, myself, could hear another officer later identified as Officer Rico over the radio stating there was a bar fight inside of Sooners Tavern and that he needed more officers for assistance. Myself and Detective Gatto responded from the Central District and arrived on scene to find that other Southern District patrol officers had brought the bar fight under control. I then observed my observations of the scene, found that all patrons had been cleared out. I spoke to bartender Jen Knowles, who stated that she was doing a last call at midnight because she was closing the bar. I then spoke to, at that point, she said that several female patrons started arguing with each other, which escalated into a physical altercation. During that time, Officer Perry, who was sitting outside the bar in his patrol vehicle, observed numerous persons running into the bar, along with hearing shouting coming from inside the bar. Officer Perry exited his vehicle and entered the bar to find a large fight inside the establishment. Officer Perry had to deploy his pepper spray onto those involved in the altercation. As a result of the dispersal of the pepper spray, the rest of the bar was cleared of patrons, to include those involved in the physical altercation. During that time, I did speak with the licensee, Mr. Pope, by phone, and he was advised of the fight inside the bar. Agent Chris Malice of the Liquor Board arrived on scene and conducted his investigation as well. Detectives Greenhill and Gatto concluded the investigation and left the establishment.
Counsel, you have questions for the detective?
Yes. You weren't present when the fight occurred, correct? No. And so you got all your information secondhand?
From Ms. Knowles.
From Ms. Knowles. And did you have an opportunity to speak with Officer Gatto?
Yeah, he was with me.
He was with you?
Yes.
And did he describe to you that the fight started in the bar and that people came in, or how did he describe the fight occurring?
Detective Gatto didn't describe the fight. Officer Perry described the fight.
Perry. So Officer Perry was present for the fight?
Yes.
Okay. And so he told you that people came in off the street to enter the fight in the bar?
That's what he said, yes.
Okay. So did he have any, is that you, Officer Perry?
Yes, sir. We'll get him to testify in a second, okay? Anything further for this?
No,
witness?
nothing further.
Okay. Officer, you want to testify?
Officer Rico Perry, Baltimore City Police, Southern District.
Could you keep your voice?
Yeah, I ask you to keep your voice up, officer, and tell us what happened that caused you to send out the signal 13.
Well, I had exited my patrol vehicle after noticing several individuals at the side entrance to Sooners Tavern. Some appeared to be running out, some appeared to be running in, and I could hear shouting, so made entry to investigate further. Some people even followed in behind me. When I came in, there were several individuals engaged in a physical altercation inside. Chairs were thrown and punches were thrown and everything. So after the dispatcher couldn't raise me on the radio due to the loud noise, Signal 13 was broadcast requesting assistance, and I deployed my departmentally issued pepper spray to help disperse the crowd.
So what happened then?
At that point, the bar began to clear out, and all the parties involved began to leave the location.
Did they calm down?
Yes.
Questions?
Yes. Now, when you, where were you situated in regards to the bar when the fight started?
Vehicle was parked on
Pennington?
right next to the side entrance.
Okay. So you were directly in front of the bar then?
Yes.
And how long were you at that position prior to the fight?
Maybe 35 minutes or so.
Okay. And did you notice people gathering outside of the bar, loitering?
Outside, yes.
Okay. And can you identify this sign as being posted on the outside of the bar?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a fair and accurate description of what's posted on the bar.
Yes.
Counsel, can you just say what it is you're showing it, because?
Yeah, it's a picture of a sign that says no loitering within 100 feet of this establishment by order of Baltimore City Police Department, maximum fine $500. At this time, I'd like to offer this as evidence.
It'll be received.
So, when you're sitting in your car, you could see that sign clearly, correct? It's posted on the outside of the
It
building.
is posted on the outside. Yes.
And at that time, you did nothing to enforce this law?
Well, when people are smoking, I don't think that's really loitering or anything like that.
So you believe them to be patrons of the bar?
I mean, they definitely came from inside the bar. Yes.
So there were no other people other than patrons outside of the bar?
No, none other than that.
Okay. All right, now, when the first shouting occurred,
Sorry, excuse me, counsel, but just because the words like numerous and many involved, how many people were standing outside the bar smoking?
Yeah, approximately 5 or so.
Okay, and those are the ones who ran back in?
After I made entry, they followed behind me.
So we're talking about 5 people. All right, thank you.
Okay, and so when you heard the shouting from inside the bar, were your windows down in your car?
Yes.
Okay. And as soon as you heard the shouting, you exited your vehicle and entered the bar and saw the fight, correct?
Yes.
And did you make any arrests?
I did not.
And why was that?
As a officer safety hazard, I mean, there's so many people in there. I couldn't detain, just grab one person, and couldn't determine who actually initiated the altercation. I mean, at that point, I just waited for more officers to help me disperse the crowd.
But you deployed your pepper spray.
Yes.
Okay. And that dispersed the crowd and everybody got away from you?
Yes.
And you said that you saw some chairs thrown?
I saw one chair thrown, yes.
Okay. And you said you saw some punches thrown?
Yes.
And you didn't arrest any of those people?
No, I did not.
Okay. And after the fight was dispersed, how long was the fight occurring?
Maybe a matter of minutes. It was hard to determine. I mean, there was a lot going on, so maybe a matter of minutes.
2-3 minutes?
Roughly, maybe 2 or so.
Okay. So you got in there pretty quickly then?
Yes.
That's good. I have nothing further.
Okay. Did you want to testify for something, any reason?
I mean, the only thing I would add is when I got there, I spoke with a server, and I asked her where security was, and she kind of laughed and said we don't have any. So I then did recommend to her to advise her boss and the owner that security, even though it's not mandatory from our standards, should be in place because they sometimes can detect something that's about to happen and possibly break it up before it happens. That's the only thing
Do you have questions for the inspector?
No.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to present evidence?
Yes. The licensee would like to call Jennifer Canolas, please.
Ma'am, just pull that mic down so you can speak into it, okay? Thanks.
Ms. Cannoli, you were present on this evening, correct?
Yes.
And the woman who started the fight, how many alcoholic beverages did you serve her?
2 Malibu and pineapples.
Would you describe her as being inebriated or drunk?
She was tipsy. Her name's Darian Blake. She's been having problems with the girls in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And there was a birthday party. So there was 2 families there, her family, another family. And last call was 11:45 p.m. Turned the lights on. As everybody was exiting the building, she turned around and ran down the bar towards the girls. And then her family went behind her. And they all started fighting. It was too many people to try to break up.
So, I mean, you're a female, and these were female combatants. There's nothing that you could do to stop them, correct?
Yes, I wouldn't try.
Right. So it took a police officer with pepper spray to come in and disperse the crowd.
Yes.
Okay. So you served her 2 drinks, and you didn't feel that she was inebriated or drunk?
Because most of the night, she drank Pepsi.
Okay, so you drank Pepsi until a certain point in the evening?
Yes.
And you also stated that 11:45 was last call because you were closing at midnight, correct?
Right. To avoid the trouble, we've been closing early.
Okay, and what time did this fight occur?
Say about 11:55
Okay.
at the latest. It was all over around 12:01. It was.
Okay. And have you had fights in the bar before?
Not really.
No.
They usually go outside.
Okay.
And if they do, I call 911.
Okay, good. And you keep records of those 911 calls, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Well, you said that you've been closing early because to avoid the trouble. What are you referring to?
It's a neighborhood bar. There's a lot of drug dealers in the neighborhood that try to come in. Some of them won't show ID, won't leave when they're told, so you have to call 911 to have them removed.
So you have problems at closing, is that what you're saying? To get rid of them?
Not all the time, but sometimes. And it's usually new faces. It's not the neighborhood people. It's usually new faces coming to the neighborhood.
Thank you. The commissioners have questions?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Moore.
Go ahead.
Were you the only one working there that night?
Yes.
Okay. And how much, what's the capacity, the seating capacity?
30.
30. Okay, thank you.
Have you since hired security?
We just reopened on Monday. We've been closed since the incident.
Okay, why? Why have you been closed since the incident? That was March 11.
We have to
Yeah,
answer
she
that.
can't
I don't-
testify to that.
You don't know? Okay. So you've been closed since March 11, and when did you reopen?
Been closed since March the 15th. We reopened on April the 10th. But we're only open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
So you were closed from March 15, 2017, and you reopened April 10? Do I have that
Yes.
right? Okay, I would like to hear why, but let me finish with you. Since you've reopened, and that was April 10, today is what, April?
13.
So, what is that, 3 days? Is there security there now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Do you know if there is a plan to get security, pardon me, to work?
I'm not sure.
You're not aware of any plan to get security?
Not at the moment.
All right. And the young lady, I think you said her name, but I didn't write it down. But is she still a patron?
No.
And how do you know that she's no longer a patron?
She's barred.
She's barred from the bar.
Yes. All of them was barred.
And when you mean all of them, what do you mean? Like the whole family?
Females that was in the fight.
So all of the women who were involved in this altercation have now been banned. So all the women combatants are banned. Okay.
Excuse me.
What did you do for work while the bar was closed? Did you get paid?
No.
And how long have you worked there?
14 years.
14?
14.
How old are you?
35.
35. And I had to ask you, you do look very young. If you came into my bar, I would card you. So since you were 21, you've been working there.
Yes.
Okay. Is this the only job that you have?
Yes.
Okay. Have you asked that security be hired?
We really haven't had fights or any, like I said, it's a neighborhood bar, so everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually no problems.
So the reason I asked is that you testified that because of the neighborhood, there are a number of, it seemed like new people that come in. Some are drug dealers. They don't want to respond to the request to be carded. And once in, they don't want to leave, so you've had to call 911 to actually have them removed.
Yes.
So that's not a sustainable strategy for managing this space. I mean, I don't know whether you would agree with that or not, but that's not why the police department is here, to remove people from your bar. So I guess my question is, you're not a manager of the restaurant or of this space? You're not a manager. Is there a manager, someone over you?
Yes.
And who is that?
Ron McGinnis.
And who is Ron McGinnis? Is he the general manager or the owner?
No, he's the owner.
And that's Mr. Popa?
Yes.
Who's Ron McGinnis?
He's our manager. He works in the morning.
And you work at night?
Yes.
And you work at night, and you're the only one in the restaurant or in this space. You're the only one in the tavern.
And guy Earl, he usually stocks the beer, and he was also there that night.
So Earl stocks the beer, and is food served here?
Not at the moment, but yes.
But at the night of this incident,
Yes.
is there a chef or a cook?
No.
Are you the one that cooks?
Yes.
So you cook, you card, you control fights, right? You serve alcohol, right? You call last call.
Yes.
And this is a space that holds how many people?
30.
30. I suspect you also clean?
No.
You don't clean. There's someone that cleans and... Okay. Okay, those are all the questions I have for you.
Anything further?
Yeah. Now, you're not aware of any security plans, correct?
Not at the moment.
That's not something that you can testify to because you're not an owner.
Right.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. Anything further from anyone?
I would like to hear from the owner.
Yeah.
As to what's going on here.
Sure.
Please.
Mr. Popa?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Popa, you weren't present that evening, but you were made aware of the events that occurred, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And to your knowledge, there have not been any fights in the bar in recent memory?
Nothing of consequence. A few guys might get an argument over who's going to win the football game, but that doesn't amount to anything. It's not a fight.
Okay. And after this event occurred, have you looked into any kind of security for the bar?
At the time of this event, my security was sitting at the curb right in front of the door, an armed police officer. This police officer was overwhelmed to the point that he had to use pepper spray to get these people under control. The people that were outside are not my customers. I don't allow them in my bar. The bar holds 30 people. I haven't had 30 people in that bar in the last 5 to 6 years because the drug dealers who infest Curtis Bay chase them all away. They hang on the corner. I have a record book here of how often I call 911 because that's the only thing I can do. I spoke to the last 4 commanding officers of Southern District. They've all told me the same thing. Don't put yourself in harm's way, call 911. Makes sense to me, that's what I pay taxes for. So we call 911. Now, I did inquire one time about hiring an off-duty police officer. I don't know where that went, but it didn't go nowhere at that time. I don't know if there was a problem hiring police officers off duty to work in bars or what, but with the exception of having an armed officer with arrest powers in the bar, I don't know who I can possibly put in there. I really don't know because, I'm an old man now. I'm in my 76th year. This bar's been in my family for half a century. We've never had security. We've never needed security. My father kept thousands of dollars in the bar to cash checks. We never had a problem. I had to stop cashing checks because I could see what was happening to the neighborhood. It's infested by drug dealers throughout our nation. These drug dealers prefer the corners to do their business. In Curtis Bay, they pick every corner, but they particularly like mine because they have a sight line for at least 10 blocks down Pennington Avenue where they can see any police car coming. They try to run into my bar. We try our best to get them out. We always do get them out. Unfortunately, by the time we get them out, the patrol cars already passed us. I'm at wit's end. I need this business. It's my sole source of income. I have no other but Social Security. That makes my house payments. So I really need this business opened, or I need somebody to buy it. It is of diminishing value as long as I am plagued by these drug dealers. All I've requested of the police is, I know that this is a situation that we're a long way off from getting control of. The best I can ask for is relocate them. I have had customers that don't come around anymore because they've been beat up. Not in my bar, when they go outside. I have people no longer my customers because they go to the other side of the street and walk. When they see this gang of young men and women hanging on the corner, they pull their cars up next to the parking spots. They turn their rap music on as loud as they can do it, and they belligerently sit there and refuse to move. I have to call 911 for that. Most of the time they're gone before 911 gets there, and they're like roaches. You turn on the lights, they scatter. You turn off the lights, they come back. This is what happens every single day. They don't take a holiday. Their business is thriving, my business is dying. I'm the victim here, not the perpetrator. I don't know what I can be expected to do within reason. I charge $1.50 for a beer. It's an indigent neighborhood. I am selling out of the alcohol I have, and I will not have any more alcohol consumed on the premises. I may make an exception for a few very good customers and have behind the bar, under the bar, what they like to consume. Otherwise, it's draft beer, bottled beer, canned beer. Draft beer is $1, bottle and cans $1.50. Our restaurant food facilities consist of a microwave and a pizza oven. We serve hot dogs and pizzas. We also have potato chips and pretzels, all of which are already packaged. I hesitate to say any more at the advice of my attorney, and besides, all I think I'll do is make you people mad at me.
You're not making us angry. Did you have anything further?
Yeah. To your knowledge, the staff that was on duty that evening had nothing to do with the fight, correct?
Nothing at all.
All
They
right,
wouldn't
and
be
it was-
there for 14 years.
Right, of course. So, and you felt that the police officers that are stationed around your establishment, they provide enough security for you right now?
Within the limits of what Baltimore City can afford to spend.
Okay. Nothing further.
What is your plan for hiring security for?
I'm not.
Listen to
I
me.
can't afford
Listen to me.
security.
Listen to my question.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
What is your plan for hiring security to work inside your establishment?
Zero.
You have no plan.
I have no money to hire security. I'm a neighborhood, end of the row house bar. You know, like I said, we've been there for over 50 years. Now, I need security? I have security. That's why we call 911. What better security could I possibly have that I could afford anyway? I don't know what you people want of me.
Well, I don't know anything about your finances, but I do know. And first of all, I hear all that you're saying.
Yes.
I hear all that you're not saying.
Well, I don't hear what I'm not saying either.
Well, I do.
Would you tell me? I'd like to know.
You know.
No, I don't know, ma'am, or I wouldn't ask the questions.
You know exactly what you're saying.
I have absolutely no idea what you're referring to, or I wouldn't sit here and ask you and have people get upset with me. I don't know what you're talking
I don't know
about.
who's up. No one on this side is upset.
Well,
we're hearing.
There is never a question of where I stand in any place in my life because I have never lied and I do not have to hide anything I do.
So
Now, I don't know how many. I'd like to see a survey of comparable bars to mine, okay, that have security. I don't have a bar where I sell shots for $6 all day long, or I sell $5 beers. I'm not in the Inner Harbor. I'm not down at the airport. And where I am, I have been for half a century. The problem is not of my making.
Well, let me ask you this. There was an application to transfer ownership that was approved, looks like on February 13, 2017. So do you still own this place?
Yes, I do.
Are you the new person who took over? Who did this get transferred to? Who did the license get transferred to?
That deal fell through.
So.
It has not been consummated. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
The man come around one time when all the drug dealers were standing there and he withdrew his offer.
So you've owned this place since, you said 50 years? And there's a healthy record of violations, at least starting in 2006. Looks like there was a violation in 2006. There was a violation October 2012, February 2013, October 2014, February 2015. Do I have that right, or do I have the wrong case?
I think you got the wrong case. I don't have any history.
You don't?
This establishment has very little violation history.
There's one in 2013.
Some places don't have a violation history because they have no history.
Sooners
We have 50 years
Tavern?
of history.
Did I get the wrong paper?
I'm sorry, officer.
Well, I'm looking at the database printout that has a long list. So the second page of that printout,
There are a few violations.
yeah, there's quite a few. So I can tell you, it sounds like you're in a difficult location and you're in a difficult situation.
It has never
And-
been a difficult location until within the past, say, well, when the drugs took over our city and became a plague that our police cannot handle, our politicians and authorities refuse to do what has to be done because you'd be harming their constituents. So citizens like me who pay for licenses, follow all the rules, dot the I's, cross the T's. When these animals act up, I get the punishment.
You don't follow, I mean, there's a record of violations that have nothing to do with any of the people that might be in or around your establishment. They all have to do with the conduct and the management of this license. These are all self-inflicted wounds that I see. They're self-inflicted violations.
I don't know, ma'am. I don't have the privilege of the information you have. If you would give it to me on a case-by-case basis,
Sure.
I'll certainly respond.
All right, so let me read it to you. I got to take off my glasses. So,
That's okay.
November 2006, there was a public hearing regarding a violation of Rule 4.01. There was a guilty finding. There was a fine of $1,000. You were, or 10 days closed. November 21.
What was the violation, ma'am?
It's a violation of Rule 4.01, and I don't have that in front of me. Just let me just read this to you.
Okay.
Made sales to minors. May 21, 2008. It looks like there was a violation, or you finally paid the fine. October 2, 2012, there was a public hearing regarding a violation of Rule 4.18. Your charter was not in good standing. You paid a fine of $125. That had nothing to do with anybody in, about, or around your establishment. On February 26, 2013, there was a public hearing regarding a violation of Rule 4.01, sale to minor. Also, a violation of Rule 4.18, illegal conduct. Rule 4.01 was a guilty finding that had nothing to do with anybody in or around your establishment. It had something to do, and everything to do with someone failing to identify or card a patron who turned out to be a minor. October 7, 2014, there was a public hearing regarding a violation of Rule 4.15, which had to do with gambling within the establishment. There was a guilty finding. The board imposed a fine of $1,500 and an administrative fee of $125. It had nothing to do with anybody standing in, about, or around your establishment. It had everything to do with gambling within inside the establishment. February 2, 2015, there was a hearing date. It looks like a fine was paid, or that's what the fine was paid. Money's owed to the bond distributing company, which is the alcohol. Then you came before this board, February 13, 2017. There was a public hearing to transfer the ownership, which we approved, now we're back up, we're caught up to where that didn't go through. So there's a lot that obviously is not going well, and at least those things have everything to do with how you run your business.
With the exception of the gambling charge, which I know about, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then that might be at the root of our problems.
No, you have the records. I don't.
What I would suggest you do.
I've lived through this, I'm sure.
If you really would like to understand, maybe you can schedule an appointment and come down to the liquor board offices, and they can walk you through the whole history of the violations.
Yes, ma'am.
We're here for something pretty clear and straightforward today. I think yours, I don't have any idea how anybody's going to rule or what decisions they're going to make, but the facts that you have laid out, both solicited by your counsel and volunteered by yourself, spell a very troubled business for lots of reasons, most of which we have no control over,
Neither do
but
I.
perhaps might be able to give you some assistance. So let me stop talking. Let's move on to the next phase and get a decision and then wrap up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I understand, Mr. Popa, your frustrations, but at the same time, I assume you know, having been in business for 50 years, that this license is a privilege.
Most certainly.
Okay. I also hope that you've thanked Ms. Canales for all the work, let me finish, sir, for all that she seems to have on her plate in the last 14 years. And equally, if not more important, I hope you thank Officer Perry. Because if it weren't for Officer Perry, who was frankly, from what I gather, out there to make sure that those individuals that are selling drugs on the streets near your bar aren't doing that, if he did not divert his attention to that issue on what was going on in your establishment, then perhaps we wouldn't be here. In other words, as Commissioner Moore has stressed, I think it's absolutely critically important that you figure out a way, determine a way to have security. Now, I'm not suggesting a security force, but clearly there are some issues going on in that neighborhood. I won't dismiss that. But I hope you understand, and I understand your frustration, but I hope you truly understand that Officer Perry diverted his attention to help your licensed establishment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so I understand that you've been in business for 50 years. I understand you have a bit of a history. You may not fully recall it all, and that's fair. But, you know, with that, you know, I hope that you work with your staff, with your council going forward to, regardless of what decision we make here, to secure those premises when necessary. That's it.
Mr. Everett, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just in summary, this fight was completely out of the control of the management that evening. It occurred for reasons unknown, and it got out of hand. It spiraled out of control. Luckily, there was a police officer there to disperse the crowd. He didn't make any arrests. However, my client got a citation for this, a violation. And he's before you today. He's not a man of means. He has very limited financial abilities.
I'm very sorry.
And he cannot, hiring a security guard at this point is just not physically possible. And I mean, I guess he'll just have to rely on 911 at this point in order to control any kind of future problems that occur in the bar.
I mean, whether or not this establishment is economically viable is a difficult thing, but it's his decision. You know, we obviously don't control that. Okay, so on the basis of the evidence before the board, I find a violation of Rule 3.12 on March 11, 2017. And I heard everything that Mr. Papa said, as well as the bartender and the officers, and understand the problems that are at this establishment. But this is a situation that could have easily gotten really bad, and people could have been hurt very seriously. And the officer could have been hurt because he was the only one there at the time. So we can't dismiss it, and I would impose a fine of $500 plus administrative costs and give him 30 days to pay it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just focusing on the facts of this case and setting aside the very concerning sidebars, which I think anyone who's watching or will watch this hearing could have some strong reactions to, and I know that I do. Setting all of that aside and not taking the bait on any of that, all of which deserve a lot of reaction, but not in this setting. I will join in the finding of responsibility. I will join in the imposition of a $500 fine. I join in the decision to allow 30 days to pay, of course, with the addition of the $125 administrative fee. And I would renew my comment that yours is a situation that might be aided by having a fulsome in-person conversation with the administrative team at the liquor board to talk about ways that you might be able to structure your business.
Set the appointment, I'll be there.
Okay, structure your business in a more productive way with less animus.
Well, I firmly believe I'm dealing with intelligent people. So I don't know where I'm going to get much argument out of what I said, because we're all aware of the problems we're suffering.
I think that you should stop talking and let's hear what Commissioner Greenfield has to say.
Commissioner Moore, yes, ma'am, I will shut up.
Thank you.
I concur with my colleagues.
Okay. 500 plus the administrative fee, 30 days. Okay, thank you.
Admin is 125, is that correct?
Yes. Is that the docket then?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I called it evidence. Yes.
Very sorry to take up your time.
Applicant Exhibit 1, photo of no loitering sign. Board Exhibit 1, Police report, Detective Elsie Greenhill. Thank you.
Thank that officer.
Okay, I believe that concludes our docket for today then, and we will adjourn until next week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too.
Okay, all right.